at that. Oh, geez, they're already trying to grab my attention here. It's going to be quite crazy with this man who is involved in many different communities, and we're very excited to have him because he's such an awesome fellow. I can't remember. I still got a point in that direction. Edward Zia. He runs many different communities. He's the marketing guru that everyone needs to speak to if you need to get everything moving where you want your business or have ideas of where to go. Edward Zia here. Edward Zia, it was great to meet you the very first time, and it was quite a shocking time to sort of meet you. And because like Andrew mentioned, oh, you've got to meet Ed. You got to meet Ed, and Ed's this guy, and go, okay, yeah, let's go meet up. And I remember this one time where we met up, and it was this coffee. And you know the first thing that you gave me? Do you remember that?
No, tell me.
Do you remember the mug that you gave me?
I was thinking that. Yeah, I used to give out mugs in those days.
I got a mug.
I love that mug. I still use that mug and go, oh, Ed, it still reminds me of you in that day, and it was such a warming gift to have, and it's such a great idea to give. What made you begin? What made you go into marketing? Because I know a bit of your history. Tell us a little bit about your history as well, where you started, like from the Army Reserves, and how you got to where you are.
So yeah. So long story short. So I used to work for the government a long time ago. I was in the Army Reserve, then I was a full-time Army, then I was seconded by the Australian Federal Police doing drug enforcement. So I had a crazy few years when I was growing up. And it turns out doing undercover drug work is very dangerous, right? Believe it or not. And so I got injured. Believe it or not, I thought I was at the time Pierce Brosnan was James Bond, so I kind of thought I was Pierce Brosnan. So then I realized I wasn't. So Pierce Brosnan turns out I'm not bulletproof. So I got injured really badly, and long story short, I ended up going into marketing for some years, and I got sick of it. I decided to become a business coach. Then I realized that's stupid. Why not become a marketing coach? And I did that. Then at the start of lockdown, I said, I'm sick of marketing. I'm going to become an influencer coach. So I've just been niching over time. So here we are today in crazy times.
I still remember about 3 or 4 years ago, and I just left, over 4 years ago now, I left corporate, and I found your meetup group. It was in the Parramatta, what was it? One of the learning centres over there at Parramatta? I can't remember.
Was it the Western Sydney Education Hub? There's part of Parramatta College. Was that it?
Parramatta College. It was at Parramatta College.
Great guys.
And I still remember that to this day because it was actually quite a trek. I'd been travelling to the same spot, the same car park, had the same journey every day, and then this was like totally out of my comfort zone because I didn't know where it was. And I turned up, I think it was half the day late. Still got there. But it was I just wanted to share that because it was 3 or 4 years ago. It started at Parramatta College, and then it turned into, actually, Ed gave me the chance to speak in front of many people, and I think that's a great benefit of these network groups. But I guess, Ed, what else can people expect if they're coming to your influencer to meetup groups?
Anything. It's pretty much. In fact, I'm actually flying to Brisbane tomorrow, so I have to be on the 7 a.m. flight out of Sydney, so I'm going to be up at like 4:35 tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to. And it's pretty much with what I do. It's people can expect to have a good time, meet people. That's part of what I do. I run a lot of free events, be it Zooms or face-to-face meetups outside of lockdowns and that, and it's all about just bringing people together. And the way I make money is people just end up hiring me. So I use my own networking events as my own networking tool as well. It's really, really good.
And the one thing I recall at one of the meetups was the way you got everyone to feel really comfortable about themselves. And there was even specific things that you gave ideas to a lot of people on how to speak to each other.
Yeah.
And could you tell us more about what some of these ideas are, because there's a lot of people that we've been running into with different communities, and what I'm finding is people are still feeling uncomfortable, and that's fine that they're uncomfortable. But what are some tips that you could give to some of the viewers on becoming comfortable, or what are some questions could you suggest to ask people?
Yeah, well, one of the best things I say is this is what I say at all my events is behave normally. So go to networking events to make friends. Don't go to sell. So if you go to a networking event with the intent to sell, you're going to have a very poor experience, and you probably won't be doing that for very long. And the networking event will hate you as well, right? So you'll hate the event, and people at the event will hate you, right? If you go there to sell. If you just go there just to make friends and meet people, you're going to have a wonderful time. People are going to like you, and you'll probably end up selling something. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I use, and you're all guys, so I can use this example. It's like the whole, yeah, if a guy comes across as too desperate, all the ladies flee. If a guy's just whatever and neutral and doesn't really care, all the ladies think it's awesome. So it's that type of effect, I think. It's sort of, and one thing I've always done personally in networking, I got that very early on. So whenever I go to a networking event, I'm just there to make friends, because it's always friendship before business. Business is a natural consequence of the friendships and relationships you make.
Oh, I like that. I like that. That's definitely one of the things that I have seen when you see this person like handing out cards and then like just as if he's like a ninja go
Yeah.
and flicking them right across you, and you go, well, I don't know who you are, so I'm just going to leave your card here, and I'm just going to walk away and just.
Well, on that note, in a few chambers, including New South Wales Business Chamber, which rebranded to Business Australia recently, one of the biggest chambers in Australia, but it's pre-virus, of course. I used to be their MC, and I used to run a lot of their events. And New South Wales Business Chamber, who did an amazing job at the time, they actually got to the point whereas if you caused too much trouble, they'd actually kick you out from the event. So it wasn't just it annoyed people. At some events, it's actually poor conduct and will get you booted. So if someone was selling people, harassing people, they'd be asked not to come back.
Oh, I like that. That's something to keep note of.
Yeah.
I think it's really also the energy. When you go to one of your events, there's just the energy in the room and getting people up and connecting. And what is it? How do you stay energized?
Well, I suppose I like what I do. The short answer is I like what I do. Like, if I don't like what I do something else, right? So my business is built on A, what I like doing, and B, what people are willing to pay for, right? Which is a great combination. At the end of the day, I mean, for example, I'm going to Brisbane tomorrow. I like Brisbane. I like flying. I want to go to Brisbane. I want to see my clients and friends and sign up new clients. I want to do that. So it's a fact that I like what I do that keeps me energized. Because here's the point, right? Here's the contrarian point. If you don't like going to networking events, then maybe you shouldn't be going to networking events. Find another way to make money. So if you don't like something, it's not going to last. It's not going to work out. Because on that note, our networking events aren't for everyone. Absolutely not. There are a lot of people that our community's not for them, our events aren't for them, and they're better off going somewhere else.
It could also be down to experience as well.
Say again?
Experience. I mean, I think it's still good to get out and at least try them, give them a go.
Yeah, I think one should try them, but at the end of the day, you got to deep down like it. You got to have deep down a like for people, because you can tell people who like networking that are just a bit nervous, which is awesome. I got no problem with that. But you can tell the people that really don't like networking, you can tell they're either there because their employer's forcing them, or they're there just to scam people. Like, they actually don't really like people. They're there just to try and trick people into buying their stuff or whatever. Right. So you can tell the people who, like, for example, you two are amazing guys. I've known you for years. You do a top job, and you're amazing networkers because you generally care about people. A lot of people don't like people, and you can kind of see that come out in networking. Or even better still, sometimes you get really toxic people that go networking. And I know, unfortunately, I know quite a few of these people, and they could walk into a Buddhist temple and start a fight. They're just that toxic. Everything they do just rubs people up the wrong way.
I was just wondering it. Yeah, I thought you were going to say something else. And
No, I'm just thinking like which bullet temple I can go to. So, yeah.
Was it Nancy and a woman one?
Isn't there one in Northern Beaches? What's that one? The one in Northern Beaches, but
yeah, I think there's a Hare Krishna ISKCON temple, if I remember correctly. Something like that. I could be wrong.
Was it? You know how you come down the three? Is it Motorvale, off Motorvale, and you go through?
I could be wrong. It's either a Baha'i or a Hare Krishna temple, if I remember correctly, but I might be totally wrong.
Anyway,
have you been invited back there anyway? Have you been invited back?
Well, maybe the Buddhist monks would be like Kung Fu. I don't know if they're like Shaolin monks. They just they dodge bullets and just beat the crap out of you, probably. But in all seriousness, though, I've met people who are such toxic people, and what they do is it's not just networking events. They just stir up trouble wherever they go, right? So you're sort of like, there are people. Networking is not for everyone. That's been my lesson in the past few years. Networking is not for everyone. And our events aren't for everyone, but if someone's very good-natured and loves helping people, our events are the perfect place. And basically, if you care about people and love helping people, you're going to go great as a networker, whether you're nervous or not.
So what are the toxic traits that you've seen without putting it too much?
Yeah. So on a funny note, I actually did a webinar on toxic people 2 weeks ago because I never asked for this. I've become one of the world's top experts in toxic people, right? I never asked for this. I didn't want it. I've just dealt with so many toxic people. I've become an unwanted expert in the topic. But here are the top 3 traits of toxic people, right? I didn't want to become an expert, and I just did, right? I never wanted this, but I just did. But top 3 traits. I think trait number 1 is they only care about what they want. They'll steal money off their grandmother. They don't care. All they do is they want what they want, and they'll just step over everyone again. I think that's toxic trait number 1.
So are they the ones that look at trying to grab attention and always be talking over people as well as, okay, there we go. Number 2, let's go.
So you said it well. They're like, they'll step over people. They're the sort of people that'll cut you off and never let you finish, right? That sort of thing.
So Sandro, sorry, Ed, keep going.
Wait, you too. Oh, no.
Sorry, keep going.
Well, you're so not toxic, Andrew. Please, you're so not toxic. Please, Andrew, what are you thinking?
We can talk later.
No, go. Sorry, number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2, I think, is they're quite narcissistic. They can't do anything wrong. So in their minds, they can't do anything wrong. So if you criticize a toxic person, they usually have an absolute meltdown because in their narcissistic minds, they're perfect and the world is a problem. So if you say, hey, listen, even peacefully after this problem, hey, look, we've got a problem here. It's your fault. It's their fault. The world's against them. They're the victim and you're just evil. So that high levels of narcissism, I think, is a common trait as well.
I'm sort of like going around because of all the things that we've been involved with social media. A lot of these things, especially the term narcissistic, has been thrown around so often by many different people who have experienced these things, as well as, and it's sort of like they don't have accountability, do they? They don't have this. It was a little bit my fault in some sense because I sort of egged them on or said something else, but I got angry and they got angry. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and toxic people are very good at that. Toxic people are they're very narcissistic in that nothing's ever their fault, right? And that's what it is. And the third point, I say this all the time, is they have to involve other people in their toxic behavior. So, for example, I've seen this play out. A toxic person can't just sit in the corner and be toxic, right? They have to spread their radioactive poison to everyone, right? And I see it so much because I've had toxic. This actually happened to us last time I was in Melbourne. Really, this is bad, by the way, but I'll tell you the truth. But we have this wonderful, I'm trying to protect the person's identity. We have this wonderful person in our community who is quite large, right? They're quite obese, right? And I'm not saying that's a judgment, I'm just telling you what they are. And I got no problem with that. Now, this person came to one of our events and made fun of this larger character, right? Basically fat shamed him, right? So then I kicked him out, as you do, right? I wasn't there. I kicked him out remotely because I got told by the leader. Anyway, and I went to Melbourne. This person, they had a beard this time, so I didn't recognise him. But this person, so basically, last time they were all clean shaven and that, but this time they had a beard. I didn't recognise him. But this toxic person who fat shamed one of our members came back to one of our meetups, and it wasn't until about an hour later that someone said, "Ed, is that the guy you kicked out?" And I'm like, "Oh yes."
Another
And the guy
persona.
but when he spoke to me, I was like, something's off about this guy. But it wasn't until an hour later that my friend said, "Oh, that's," and I'm like, "That son of a," anyway, just I don't want to make a scene, but you know the deal.
Yeah.
So what do you think now that we're on this topic about energy as well? Because I've been delving into energy. What do you think of vibrations of people? Like these toxic people, right? They're at such a low vibration that they're not even vibing with you because you're sort of at this level where you're vibing and it's like real quick compared to someone else who's like, real angry or all these other things that happen, and they tend to drag some of the people down, right?
Yeah.
Do you, and that's what I'm gathering from this point where it only takes one person to poison maybe 1, 2, or 3 different people. Yet those other 3 would then start vibing at that level and start spreading this poison that you talk about. And I've seen that too.
Yeah. And it's like that. They can really poison your groups. But then the other side of that coin is that if people are vibing really high, the toxic person doesn't get anywhere. That's the other side as well. So the two things that happens, the toxic person either drops their act and behaves normally or they leave. So I had a funny one. You guys will appreciate this actually. And I know you'd like this one, Andrew. So a few months ago, so every few months, I just do a webinar bashing toxic people for an hour. And people love it. We just have this basically how to deal with toxic people webinar. So I run webinars every week, but every 3 months I'll do a toxic one, right? Basically how to deal with toxic people. And everyone shares their crazy stories, right? And I remember one time, this was the last time I did the webinar, like a few months ago. Did a webinar on how to deal with toxic people. And there was this person there, it was over Zoom, you could tell they were pissed off. They were just unhappy. They weren't like you or me going, yeah, they were like this. They were just like, they were pissed, right? They were not happy. Because I'm just talking about how bad toxic people are, how they destroy lives. Basically, I'm just doing a rant on toxic people. Basically, if it wasn't for toxic people, the world would be a great place type of angle, right? And this guy was not happy. And then he just turned off. There's like 40 people there, right? He just turned off his mic and started going, why are you bashing toxic people? Blah, 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 blah. And I just said, come on, I'm not bashing toxic people. I'm just talking about what they are, just describing them factually. And the guy said, this is wrong, this is terrible. And he left the webinar, like in front of 40 people, just had this weird outburst and left. And everyone just joked, yep, he's the toxic one. Yeah, toxic guy. Yeah. It's basically, it's sort of like I use the metaphor of the guy who cheats on his wife. Like if a guy's not cheating on his wife, he's got nothing to worry about, doesn't care. But the guy who cheats on his wife always has a guilty conscience. It's like that. He's like, this guy knew he was toxic, so the sweat was sort of pouring out. Like, I'm not doing it okay. I'm not toxic. No one said you were, buddy. Yeah, we know. And everyone, it was hilarious. Everyone collectively was laughing at this toxic loser who just did this weird. I didn't say anything. I don't even know the guy. Just did this weird outburst. So, but that's the point of toxic people. He was so toxic, he just couldn't sit there and listen or leave quietly. He had to make a scene. So it was classic toxic behavior.
So it meant that you triggered something in him that he actually did that you mentioned, and it triggered it so hard that he had to speak.
Yeah.
That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, but so toxic. So in his mind, he doesn't care about anyone around him. He's done nothing wrong, and he has to spread it. So he did all 3. Like in his mind, he had to try and upset everyone. He's just awesome, and he's not toxic, and he had to make a big deal out of it. There you go.
And you found out, and then everyone was happy after that.
Oh, everyone's laughing. They're like, he's a toxic one. Everyone made all these funny comments in the Sim saying, "Scratch one toxic person." He's off crying to mummy. He must be, it's funny.
Well, we better get back onto the networking events and wrap this up. But you've got a online one tonight.
Yes.
International. Yep. International one tonight. We'll put a link somewhere in the comments so people can find it. And yeah, thanks for coming on, Ed. Thanks for joining us.
How often does that happen? Because I keep missing these things. I either have my kids or something else is happening. Like tonight, something's happened. I think you and I need to talk a little bit more often to sort of figure out what you're doing in your communities, and we sort of need to figure out what we all need to do is like collaborate and work.
Yeah. Please, thank you. Please come along to our events anytime, and you too, and whoever's listening, you're all very welcome.
The amazing Ed. Oh, this side. Damn it, I still can't get that right. It's the mirror image, so I can't
right.
to you. It's this way. It's the opposite.
Yeah, I get it. It's mirrored. It's mirrored. I get it.
Yeah.
You're looking at a mirror of yourself.
So stay online anyway, and we'll talk to you after this. It would be great if anyone would like to engage in this, just so you could be visible. Let us know who you are. DM, add us, add Ed. Oh damn it again, Ed. Add Ed on this side. Add him in the mix. Go to his meetups. He's got amazing meetups, and if you're in Brisbane, Melbourne, he's normally running around everywhere, and he's got high energy. And if you really want to vibe at that energy and meet other people who are at that energy, go to one of Ed's. Oh damn it, that way. It was right the first time.
You're the opposite. You got to point in the opposite direction on screen.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I got it. All right. Thanks, Ed. Stay on the line. Thanks, and see you all for another week, and see you next week for an amazing guy that we're going to bring on more of a spiritual aspect. We're going to bring Ian Hawkins in. So stay tuned for that one for next week. And
Ed knows
see you.
Ian's
know Ian?
A great guy. Is Ian Hawkins, right?
Yep.
Tell that sexy man Ed says hello. Great man.
I'm going to cut that bit, and I'm going to send it to him.
We love
I'm going to say, Ian's awesome. I can't talk more, but
hang on. All right, let's cut it.
Let's cut it. See you guys.
See everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.